The mind that aspires to know eternal truths does not perish when the body decays, for humans condemn injustice out of fear of becoming its victims, not out of disgust for committing it. Those who refuse today to accept advice that costs nothing will have to pay the price of regret at the highest cost tomorrow. Do not associate with the wicked, for their nature will steal your goodness without you realizing it. Every person becomes a poet when love touches their heart. Master your work and you will achieve your hope. A little knowledge with action is more beneficial than a lot of knowledge with little action. Do not focus on the speed of your work but on its quality, for people do not ask when you finished but look at its excellence and craftsmanship. A good man is one who bears harm but does not inflict it. Pleasure is the sting of pain. Pleasure is the happiness of the fools, while happiness is the pleasure of the wise. Thinking is the dialogue of the soul with itself. The price paid by the good for their indifference to public affairs is that they are ruled by the wicked. A life not examined with scrutiny is a life not worth living. The goal of knowledge is goodness. The eye of insight does not sharpen unless the eye of the body weakens. Necessity is the mother of invention. We do not condemn injustice because we fear committing it, but because we fear suffering from it. Dignity is a glory that comes from a sound and serious mind. Dignity is a greatness that results from a sound and serious intellect. The wealthy are not usually the righteous, and thus they are not happy. We are mad if we cannot think, fanatical if we do not want to think, and slaves if we do not dare to think. A good person does not need laws to tell him how to act responsibly, while a corrupt person will always find a way to circumvent the laws. Knowledge of names leads to knowledge of things. Victory over oneself is the greatest victory. A person is blind walking on the right path. Give and you shall receive. The measure of men is in their small deeds. A person is rich in their friends. Do not underestimate a little good you do, for a little good is much. A good man is one who bears harm but does not inflict it. Dignity is a glory that comes from a sound and serious mind. If it rained freedom from the sky, you would see some slaves carrying umbrellas. Do not underestimate your enemy, lest misfortune invade you due to your underestimation of their power. You can learn more about a person in an hour of play than in an hour of conversation. Most people become wicked when in power. When Plato was asked who is the most trustworthy person to manage a city, he said, "The one who governs himself well." In times of war, do not rely on assistance and neglect reason, for reason can achieve positions without the need for assistance, and assistance cannot replace reason. If the wise man flees from people, seek him. If he seeks them, flee from him. If our sensory apparatus is subjected to a continuous barrage of rapidly moving images, music, and sound effects, it ultimately makes our ability to make rational decisions about anything quite difficult. When words leave off, music begins. Truth is the most important element in everything you do in music. Music should ignite the fire in the hearts of men and bring tears to the eyes of women. Music is the art, and once you become an artist, you must learn how to accept criticism. If I were not a physicist, I might have become a musician. I often think about music. My daydreams are about music, and I view my life through the lens of music. My happiest moments are those I spend playing the violin. Plato's aphorism on ethics. Most virtues have a bitter beginning but sweet conclusions, while the effects of vices have a sweet beginning but bitter conclusions. Do not associate with the wicked, for their nature will steal your goodness without you realizing it. Advice shows the nature of the advisor, and the wise person should only gain from what enriches them and should only serve those who share their character. If your argument in a debate stands against a noble person, they will honor and respect you. If it stands against a base person, they will oppose you and make it a point against you. All I have of the virtue of knowledge is the knowledge that I am not a scholar. Hope is the deception of people. Preserve the law and it will preserve you. If you befriend a man, you should be a friend to his friend and not an enemy to his enemy. He who praises you for a beauty that is not in you while being pleased with you will blame you for a vice that is not in you while being displeased with you. Let your fear of your own planning against your enemy be greater than your fear of your enemy's planning against you. Plato's sayings about success. Pleasure is the sting of pain. Pleasure is the happiness of fools, while happiness is the pleasure of the wise. The eye of insight does not become sharp unless the eye of the body weakens. Happiness is the knowledge of good and evil. If you tire in doing good, the fatigue will pass and the good will remain. But if you enjoy sins, the pleasure will pass and the sins will remain. Victory over oneself is the greatest victory. Master your work and you will achieve your hope. Knowledge of names leads to knowledge of things. Those who refuse today to accept advice that costs nothing will have to pay the price of regret at the highest cost tomorrow. People's minds are recorded in the tips of their pens and are evident in their good choices. The beauty of style, harmony, tone, and good rhythm depends on simplicity. Do not discourage anyone who is making continuous progress, even if it is slow.